Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
What if every single choice you make is secretly casting a vote for the person you will become? Imagine your daily habits as invisible threads, quietly weaving the fabric of your future. Are they strong and purposeful, or weak and destructive? The truth is, success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the kind of person who earns it. Every decision you make is a vote for the kind of person you want to be. Stay up late watching television instead of preparing for tomorrow? That's a vote. Grab a sugary snack instead of a healthy option? Another vote. Skip your reading time to scroll through social media? Yet another vote. Day by day, choice by choice, vote by vote, you are electing the person you will ultimately become. Your future is hidden in your daily routine. Habits are the invisible threads weaving your life's tapestry, some strong with discipline, consistency, and purpose, others weak with procrastination, excuses, and indulgence. The quality of your life depends on which threads dominate. Success is not something you pursue. What you chase often runs away. Success is something you attract by the person you become, and that person is shaped by your habits, those small, daily decisions that form your character, sharpen your skills, and direct your destiny. Killing weak habits isn't easy. If it were, everyone would live extraordinary lives. But most people cling to their excuses, their justifications, their comfort zones. You're different. You're here because you know you're capable of more. You're here because you're ready to grow. Rebuild yourself into someone stronger, more disciplined, and fully capable of achieving the extraordinary. That journey begins with identifying and eliminating the weak habits that have been holding you back. Transformation starts with awareness. You can't change what you refuse to acknowledge. Take a hard inventory of your life. What habits are sabotaging your growth? Be brutally honest. The truth may be uncomfortable, but comfort has never transformed anyone. Maybe it's your mornings, hitting the snooze button 3 times before dragging yourself out of bed, rushing without intention or purpose. Maybe it's your finances, spending impulsively on short-lived pleasures that bring no lasting value. Or maybe it's your health, choosing convenience over nutrition, inactivity over movement, distraction over true rest. Whatever your weak habits are, write them down. There's power in seeing them on paper. It forces you to confront them and strips away the shadows of denial and excuse-making. Once identified, replace each with a stronger habit. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you simply remove a bad habit without filling the gap, it will quietly creep back in. Instead of hitting snooze, create a morning ritual that energizes you. Instead of spending without thought, build a budget that supports your long-term goals. Instead of neglecting your health, commit to a realistic nutrition and movement plan that honors your body. Here's where most people fail. They try to change everything at once, get overwhelmed, and fall back into old patterns. Don't make that mistake. Start small. Focus on 1 or 2 key habits. Master them, then move on. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. A mere 1% improvement each day can lead to a 37-fold transformation in a year. That's the power of consistent growth. Compounding works in personal growth just as it does in finance. Let me share what I call the 5 steps to killing a weak habit. First, identify the habit and uncover its triggers. What situations, emotions, or environments spark this behavior? Awareness is the first step toward change. Second, create a compelling reason to change. Your why must be strong enough to carry you through the discomfort of transformation. When your why is powerful, the how becomes far easier. Third, design your environment for success. Remove temptations and cues that pull you back, and surround yourself with people, places, and things that support your new direction. Fourth, replace the weak habit with one that serves your goals. Nature abhors a vacuum. Leave no empty space for the old pattern to return. And fifth, be patient and persistent. Habit change is not an event, it's a process. New neural pathways take time to form, so stay the course, even when progress feels slow. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement. It turns dreams into plans and plans into reality. Without it, even the best strategy will collapse. There are 2 pains in life, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Choose wisely. Discipline isn't about being harsh. It's about loving your future self enough to make the right choices today. The short-term discomfort of doing what's necessary is nothing compared to the lasting satisfaction of becoming who you're capable of being. And here's the beauty of discipline. It gets easier with practice. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Soon, what once required sheer willpower becomes second nature and even enjoyable. That's when transformation truly takes root. No one achieves greatness by accident. Every successful person I've met made deliberate choices about their habits. They understood, as Aristotle once said, that excellence is not an act but a habit. They weren't born with more talent or luck. They simply made better decisions about how to use their time, energy, and focus. They chose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. They eliminated weak habits before those habits could destroy their dreams. Let's look at some specific weak habits that might be holding you back and how to replace them with strong ones. Procrastination is a dream killer. You tell yourself, "I'll do it tomorrow," but tomorrow never comes. Replace it with immediate action. If something needs to be done, do it now. This one shift can skyrocket your productivity and results. Negative self-talk erodes confidence and limits potential. Replace it with positive affirmations and empowering questions. Instead of, "Why does this always happen to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of, "I can't do this," say, "I'm figuring out how to do this." Comparing yourself to others robs you of joy and distorts your sense of progress. Replace it with personal benchmarking. Compare yourself only to who you were yesterday and celebrate even small wins. Reacting emotionally to challenges often leads to stress and poor decisions. Replace it with thoughtful response. Create space between stimulus and reaction. Pause, breathe, consider your options, and choose wisely. Information overload drains your focus and scatters your attention. Replace it with selective consumption. Be intentional about what you allow into your mind. Focus on quality over quantity, depth over breadth. Finally, saying yes to everything dilutes your focus and blocks excellence. Replace it with strategic elimination. Say no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. Remember, the enemy of the best is often the merely good. The best is often sacrificed for the merely good. That's why I want to share a concept that completely transformed how I approach habit change: identity-based habits. Most people focus on outcome-based habits, saying, "I want to lose weight," or "I want to save money." But lasting change comes from shifting your identity first. Instead of thinking, "I want to lose 20 pounds, say, "I am the kind of person who takes care of my body." Instead of, "I want to save more money," say, "I am a disciplined steward of my resources." When you change your identity, your actions naturally follow. You don't have to constantly push yourself. You act in alignment with who you believe you are. This perspective shift is powerful. It moves habit change from struggle to authenticity. You're no longer forcing yourself to be someone else. You're becoming who you were always meant to be. But this transformation takes courage. The courage to let go of who you've been. To face the discomfort of growth instead of clinging to the comfort of mediocrity, and to risk disappointing those who prefer the old version of you. I've always believed courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else matters more. In this case, it's your potential, the person you're capable of becoming once you break free from weak habits. And along the way, failure will happen. Let me repeat that. You will fail. There will be days when old patterns creep back in, when willpower fades, when circumstances knock you off track. But failure is an event, not an identity. Just because you failed doesn't mean you are a failure. It means you're human. The real question is, how will you respond? Will you let failure convince you to quit, or will you treat it as feedback to grow? Will it become proof that change is impossible, or proof that you're still in the fight? See failure for what it truly is, a necessary part of the learning process. The great achievers in history, the ones who rebuilt themselves by killing their weak habits, didn't avoid failure. In fact, they failed more often than most. But they persisted. They learned. They adjusted. And in time, they succeeded. So when you fail, and you will, don't beat yourself up. Don't use it as proof that change is impossible. Instead, get curious. What triggered the setback? What could you do differently next time? How can you better prepare yourself for success going forward? This leads to another crucial part of breaking weak habits: The power of accountability. We all have blind spots. We all face moments of weakness. And we all need support on the journey of transformation. Find someone who believes in your potential and is committed to your growth. Share your goals with them. Report your progress regularly. Give them permission to call you out when you're making excuses or slipping into old patterns. Accountability isn't about shame or judgment. It's about love. It's loving yourself enough to invite others into your journey. It's humility, knowing we can't reach our highest potential alone. And it's wisdom, recognizing that the right support can multiply your chances of success. I often tell the story of two men trying to quit smoking. The first told no one. When cravings hit, he had only his own willpower. The second told everyone, family, friends, co-workers. When cravings came, he had not only his willpower, but also the expectation and support of those around him. Which man do you think succeeded? The one who went it alone, or the one who harnessed the power of accountability? The answer is clear. We're social beings. We perform better when others are watching, when they're counting on us, when they celebrate our wins and help us learn from our losses. So don't try to break weak habits in isolation. Invite others into your journey. Be open about your struggles, celebrate your wins together, and learn from each other's experiences. Now let's talk about patience. In a world of instant gratification, we crave results now. But habit change doesn't work that way. It takes time for new pathways to form in your brain, time for new behaviors to feel natural instead of forced. You may have heard the myth that it takes 21 days to form a habit. In reality, it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days, depending on the habit, the person, and the circumstances. On average, it's about 66 days, more than 2 months of consistent practice. So be patient with yourself. Don't expect overnight transformation. Celebrate small wins. And remember that even when progress seems slow, unseen changes are happening beneath the surface. The seeds you plant today will bear fruit in due time, if you don't give up. And above all, focus on progress, not perfection. You don't need to execute your habits flawlessly every time. Research shows that missing a step occasionally doesn't break the habit. What matters is the overall pattern, not a single slip. This leads to another crucial point, the power of tracking. What gets measured gets managed. If you want to eliminate weak habits and build strong ones, start tracking your behavior. Use a journal, a spreadsheet, or a mobile app, whatever suits you. The method isn't as important as your consistency. Tracking raises your awareness, gives you concrete proof of progress, and creates a sense of accountability, even if you're only accountable to yourself. Just as importantly, it allows you to celebrate small wins along the way. Never underestimate the power of celebration in changing habits. When you acknowledge progress, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical linked to pleasure, creating a positive feedback loop that makes you want to repeat the behavior. So track your habits and celebrate every win, no matter how small. Resisted the urge to scroll social media during work? Celebrate. Chose a healthy meal over fast food? Celebrate. Saved a bit of your paycheck instead of spending it all? Celebrate. These celebrations don't have to be grand. A simple, I did it, can be powerful. The goal is to connect the good feeling of achievement with the habit you want to strengthen. Now, let's talk about your environment. Often, it has more influence on your behavior than willpower alone. If you're trying to eat healthier, but your kitchen is filled with junk food, you're setting yourself up for failure. If your workspace is cluttered and full of distractions, being productive becomes an uphill battle. Design your environment to support your desired habits, not sabotage them. Make the behaviors you want easy and the ones you don't want difficult. Remove triggers for weak habits and create cues for strong ones. Want to read more? Place books where you can see them and keep digital devices out of sight. Want to exercise in the morning? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to save more money? Set up automatic transfers to your savings account so willpower isn't your only defense. This strategy works because human nature follows the path of least resistance. When you make your desired habits easier than the alternatives, you're using this tendency to your advantage instead of fighting against it. And then there's the deeper layer, identity. As mentioned earlier, the most powerful way to change your habits is to focus on who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve. But how do you change your identity? It happens gradually, through a feedback loop between behaviors and beliefs. Your actions shape how you see yourself, and your self-image shapes the actions you take. To shift your identity, start small. Take actions that match the person you want to become, even if they feel uncomfortable at first. That discomfort is natural. It's simply your current self-image resisting change. Keep going. Over time, as you act in alignment with your desired identity, your perception of yourself will transform. If you want to be a disciplined person, begin with small, consistent choices, making your bed each morning, honoring your commitments, arriving on time. In the beginning, these may feel forced. At first, these actions may require conscious effort and feel a bit forced. But as you keep going, you'll begin to see yourself as a disciplined person. Once your identity shifts, disciplined behavior flows naturally. This is why I often say, motivation follows action, not the other way around. Too many people wait to feel motivated before taking the first step, but that's backward. Take action first, even when you don't feel like it, and motivation will catch up. Action builds momentum, and momentum fuels motivation. Now, let's talk about a major factor in habit change, your social circle. I'm known for saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a powerful truth about human behavior. Your social environment shapes your standards, your expectations, and your aspirations. If you're surrounded by people who live out the very habits you're trying to break, your journey becomes much harder. Their actions can trigger old patterns and weaken your new commitments. This doesn't mean you have to cut ties with friends or family, but you do need to be intentional about who you spend time with and how you allow their influence to affect you. Seek out relationships with those who live the habits and values you want to develop. Limit time with those who pull you back into your weak habits. And remember, influence flows both ways. As you eliminate your weak habits, you can inspire others to start their own transformation. There's a truth I've seen proven over and over again. Success leaves clues. Whatever you want to achieve or become, someone has already walked that path. Learn from them. Study their habits, their mindset, and their strategies. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you want to become successful, study the habits of wealthy people. If you want better health, learn from those who have mastered it. If you want to build a thriving business, observe the habits of successful entrepreneurs. This doesn't mean blindly copying anyone. Your circumstances, strengths, and challenges are unique. But by learning from those who've already achieved what you want, you can speed up your progress and avoid common mistakes. Books, podcasts, courses, mentors, these are priceless tools. Investing in yourself through these resources will pay dividends for the rest of your life. But here's an important question. What if you're not sure which habits to build? What if you don't yet have a clear picture of the person you want to become? Start by clarifying your values and goals. Ask yourself, what matters most to me? What kind of life do I want to create? What impact do I want to have? Your answers will guide your habit choices. If family is a core value, you might commit to habits that keep you fully present. Limiting work hours, creating tech-free zones, or building family rituals. If health is a priority, focus on regular exercise, eating nutritious meals, getting enough sleep, and managing stress. If lifelong learning matters to you, develop habits around reading, taking courses, seeking new experiences, and reflecting on what you learn. The key is alignment. Your habits should match your values and goals. When they do, motivation flows more naturally because your daily actions connect directly to what matters most. This leads to another crucial concept in breaking weak habits, the power of keystone habits. These are the habits that create ripple effects, triggering positive changes across multiple areas of your life, without requiring the same level of effort. For many, regular exercise is a keystone habit. Once they start moving consistently, when people start exercising regularly, they often notice other changes follow naturally. They begin to eat healthier, sleep better, and feel more energetic and confident. These improvements weren't directly targeted. They simply emerged as a byproduct of the keystone habit. Other powerful keystone habits include getting adequate sleep, daily planning, meditation, and tracking your finances. By identifying and focusing on these habits, you get far more return for your effort in the transformation process. Now, let's talk about the role of systems in breaking weak habits. Goals are important. They give direction and motivation, but systems are what actually produce results. A goal is the outcome you want. A system is the process that makes that outcome inevitable. Too often, people set goals without building the systems to reach them. They say, I want to lose 20 pounds, but never create a sustainable nutrition and exercise plan. Or, I want to write a book, without committing to a consistent writing schedule. Here's the problem. Once a goal is achieved, the behavior often stops. But if you fall in love with the system, the daily process, you keep going long after the initial goal is met. So, set ambitious goals, but shift your real focus to designing and sticking to systems that move you forward. Love the process, not just the destination. I once knew a man who trained for months to run a marathon. He crossed the finish line, celebrated, and then stopped running altogether. The goal was met, so the habit vanished. But another man approached it differently. He also set out to run a marathon, but his focus was on becoming a runner. He built a running routine into his lifestyle, joined a club, explored different terrains, trails, tracks, and roads. After finishing the marathon, he kept running because he enjoyed the process. The race was simply a milestone, not the end. Which do you think creates lasting change, the goal or the system? When it comes to lasting transformation, systems always outperform goals. Now, let's clear up a common myth about habit change, the belief that it's all about willpower. The truth is, willpower is limited. If you rely on it alone to eliminate weak habits, you'll eventually run out and slip back into old patterns. Instead, design your life so you need less willpower. Build an environment that makes good habits easy. Set routines that automate positive behaviors, and surround yourself with people who reinforce your new identity. Willpower still matters, especially in the early stages before habits become automatic. But think of it like an emergency fund, not your daily spending money. Save it for unexpected challenges, not everyday choices. Another powerful tool is implementation intentions, specific plans for when, where, and how you'll act. For example, instead of saying, "I'll exercise more," say, "Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m., I'll go to the gym and follow my workout plan." Or, instead of "I'll eat healthier," say, "When I crave an afternoon snack, I'll have an apple or a handful of nuts." These plans remove uncertainty and decision fatigue, turning vague goals into clear, actionable steps. Studies show people who use them are far more likely to follow through. And here's another key: start small. Many fail because they try to change everything at once: diet, exercise, sleep, work habits. That path almost always leads to burnout. A smarter way? Begin with tiny habits, so small they require almost no motivation. Want to meditate? Start with 1 minute a day. Want to read more? Begin with 1 page before bed. Want to improve your diet? Add just 1 vegetable to your daily meals. These small habits may seem insignificant, but they serve a crucial purpose. They lay the neural pathways for lasting change and shape your identity as someone who lives this behavior. Once the habit takes root, you can gradually increase the duration or intensity. In the beginning, consistency matters far more than intensity. It's better to meditate for 1 minute every day than an hour once a week. Better to read a single page daily than 100 pages once a month. Start small, stay consistent, and then slowly raise the challenge as the habit becomes second nature. This approach is sustainable, and it works. Now, you might be wondering, how long does it take to truly kill a weak habit? The truth is, it depends on the habit's strength, your motivation, your strategy, and the support you have. Some habits can shift in weeks. Others may take months, even years. The key is to focus on the process, not the calendar. If you keep moving in the right direction, change will come, even if slower than you'd like. And remember, habit change isn't a straight climb. You'll face setbacks, days when old patterns return, when motivation dips, when progress feels invisible. That's not failure. It's part of being human. Transformation is rarely a perfect line forward. It's ups, downs, steps ahead, and steps back. As long as the overall trend is upward, you're winning. Here's a mindset shift that makes all the difference. Treat habit change like an experiment, not a test. A test is pass or fail. An experiment is about learning, no matter the outcome. Every attempt, whether it works or not, gives you valuable data. What worked? What didn't? Why? And how can you adjust moving forward? This experimental mindset removes the pressure of perfection and keeps you in the game long enough to win. By removing the emotional weight from setbacks, you replace the thought, "I failed," with "That's interesting. This approach didn't work as well as I hoped. What can I try next?" This keeps you engaged in the process instead of giving up when things don't go as planned. Now, let's talk about the crucial role of stress management and habit change. Stress is one of the biggest triggers for slipping back into old, weak habits. Under stress, the prefrontal cortex, the brain's center for planning, decision-making, and self-control, becomes less active. Meanwhile, the habit and impulse centers light up, pulling you back toward ingrained behaviors. That's why, during difficult times, we often reach for the chocolate bar, the cigarette, or get lost in mindless scrolling. They offer short-term comfort, even while sabotaging our long-term goals. To truly kill weak habits, you need proven strategies for handling stress before it hits. These could be meditation, deep breathing, exercise, spending time in nature, creative outlets, or connecting with supportive friends and family. The specific methods matter less than having them ready and practicing them regularly. Don't wait for a crisis to figure out your coping tools. Remember, stress is not just emotional, it's physical. Chronic stress keeps your body in fight or flight mode, raising cortisol and weakening your immune system. It clouds your thinking, erodes self-control, and fuels automatic reactions. Managing stress effectively creates the right conditions for change. It gives your prefrontal cortex the power to override old habits and make choices aligned with your goals. As we near the close of this journey together, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts on rebuilding yourself by killing your weak habits. First, transformation is a lifelong journey, not a finish line. There's no point where you can say, "I've arrived, I'm done growing." As long as you're alive, you have both the opportunity and the responsibility to keep evolving, refining your habits, and becoming a better version of yourself. Second, be kind to yourself along the way. Harsh self-criticism rarely drives lasting change. It often has the opposite effect. Treat yourself with the same compassion you'd offer a close friend facing a challenge. Celebrate progress, learn from setbacks, and keep moving forward. Third, remember that killing weak habits isn't just about removing the negative. It's about creating space for something better, freeing your time, energy, and focus for what truly matters. Attention for what truly matters: your relationships, your purpose, your growth, and your contribution to the world. Understand that this process of rebuilding yourself is one of the most rewarding journeys you can ever take. By shaping your habits, you're shaping your destiny. You're taking the reins of your life instead of being carried along by old patterns or societal expectations. This is your life, not someone else's. You choose how to live it. You decide which habits to cultivate and which to eliminate. You decide who you will become. So, ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to create? And most importantly, what weak habits are standing in your way? Now is the moment to answer these questions. Now is the time to commit fully to the process of transformation. Now is the time to rebuild yourself by killing your weak habits. Remember, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's what turns a dream into a plan and a plan into reality. Discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons, so choose your pain wisely. The journey of transformation won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Every step you take toward becoming the person you're meant to be moves you closer to a life that's more fulfilling, purposeful, and impactful. Start today, right now. Identify one weak habit to eliminate and one strong habit to replace it. Take a single step in the right direction, then another tomorrow, and the next day after that. Step by step, choice by choice, habit by habit, you'll rebuild yourself into someone stronger, more disciplined, and fully capable of creating the life you truly desire. Years from now, you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come, at who you've become, at what you've achieved. The miracle of your future lies hidden in your daily routine. Your habits are the invisible threads weaving the fabric of your life. Choose wisely which threads you allow to dominate your tapestry. Success is simply a few disciplines practiced daily. Failure is a few poor choices repeated over time. So what are you practicing each day? You are not what you wish for or what you intend. You are what you consistently do. Your habits define you, shape your story, and create your destiny. Write a story worth telling. Live a life worth remembering. Become the person you're capable of becoming. It all begins with those small, daily choices that shape your character, your abilities, and ultimately, your future. The choice is yours, and the time is now. The best version of you is waiting. so don't keep them waiting any longer. Wishing you health, happiness, and success. And remember to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily.